Okay, so Facebook was no longer broadcasting me, although it was telling me I was still live. And rather than continue and not be sure whether actually I was sending anything out into the ether or not, I stopped it and I'm just starting it again. And I'm just going to have a look now and see if I am actually live. It's very odd. I'm not quite sure what is going on, to be perfectly honest, because it's not on my iPad, it's not showing that I'm live. But my camera, it's showing that I'm right. Candy, if you've joined me, can you tell me, can you see and hear me okay? Because I'm getting mixed messages from Facebook. Facebook is not telling me that I'm live, but my camera, which is also connected to Facebook, is telling me I am live. So it would be really helpful to get a comment from you to tell me if you can see and hear me okay. So I've just turned off my iPad. Let's completely restart all that. Technology is a wonderful thing, but there are few things more annoying than when it plays up like this. It's not much fun for you watching, and it isn't much fun for me doing, particularly when it isn't clear where the issue is. So I'm hoping Candy will be able to shed some light on the matter. You can. Hooray. Thank you, Candy. Okay. Because I stopped and started just now because I was getting two messages from Facebook, one saying that I wasn't live and one saying that I was. So I'm just going to try and get myself back up one more time, and then I was just trying to put the camera down. There we go. Right, now I can see myself. Thank goodness for that. Okay, right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover you over. So I'm sorry about that. I know you've only just arrived. I'm not going to cover you over. I'm going to move the camera down and you'll be able to see what's on my desk. And we'll go back to where we were a couple of minutes ago. Okay, and as always, it'll take just a little bit of fiddling to get the camera position as good as I can make it. But hopefully it will come up in a moment on my iPad. There we go. Right, so that's my notes there for the session. Let's move things a little bit closer so you get less of my table and more of my actual workspace. I did promise earlier that I would pop my email address down there, and I'm just going to get rid of these trailing leads. There we are. So a little bit of housekeeping. Hopefully you don't mind that. Let's move things along a little bit. There we go. I'm hoping that will be an improvement. You could still do with seeing a little bit more paper, couldn't you? Let's try that. Okay, that might be there. And let's pick up some of this microphone lead. There we go. Fortunately, I don't think you come to me for BBC quality viewing, do you? The crafting, I hope, is good. The technical stuff is not so good, but then I don't have a technical team, do I? Okay, there we are. That's all starting to look a little bit more like what you need to see. Okay, so my email address is there. My website address is there. I have an online shop for those of you that didn't know. And now, having gone through Sale-a-Bration, I'm going to open up my catalogue and show you the inside. Actually, I can't show you the inside of the catalogue. I'm just going to have to give you page numbers because until tomorrow, I'm not allowed to show you the inside of the catalogue. I know it's a really weird rule, but I'm not. So I need to do as I'm told. However, I hope that you will have your catalogue next to you. So I'm slightly awkwardly going to open mine to the side where the camera can't see it and just tell you a couple of things. The first of which is that the non-Christmas things start on page 46. Now there's a lovely stamp set of a robin and a tree on page 46 and the most beautiful dies, which personally I think you can use all year round. But if you go to that page, that's really where the non-Christmas things start. And as I said earlier, I'm going to cover Christmas in September, but not this week. And the other things that I don't want you to miss are the index, which starts on page, and I've got that marked, page 72. So on page 72, you've got an index of all the bundles, and then that goes on into a pictorial index for the stamp sets, for the papers, for all the embellishments and so on. And it's absolutely brilliant to have an index like that. I personally find it's really, really helpful. I can see everything at a glance, and it's much easier than paging through the catalogue and looking for things. So what I'm going to show you now is the Splendid Day Suite. Now you'll find this on page 64 of the new mini catalogue. And I'm going to show you all the bits and pieces. I'm going to show you a Sale-a-Bration item that coordinates, and then I'm going to show you some projects and do a little bit of crafting with it. I think this is a really, really nice suite. The colours are beautiful. They're very soft and gentle. I'm just trying to get rid of this trailing lead again. Let's see if that helps. That might be better. Okay. The colours are beautiful. Foliage is a really, really useful thing to have in a stamp set because it will work for pretty much every occasion. I can make birthday cards with this for men and women. I can make sympathy cards. I can make a moving card, moving into a new home. I can do thinking of you, pretty much anything. And there's even much love in your new life together as one of the stamps, so even wedding cards. Now I've got foliage stamps, you've seen me use them before I'm sure, but I really like the style of these. They're a very simple line design which gives you a really clean and modern look. And I like the sentiments, let's celebrate, so that could be for anything including birthdays. Sending hugs, that's really nice for a thinking of you card. And then the much love in your new life together, and today is a day to remember if you're doing something for a particular celebration. There are coordinating dies. And of course you can get the stamps and the dies together as a bundle, which saves you 10%. So there are dies which cut out this stamped image and this stamped image plus your little bee here. Love the bee. And then there are 6 other images which are independent. You don't need the stamps to work these images. Lots of them cut out some very finely detailed foliage, which I'll show you in a minute actually cut. And then there's this one, which is a little bit like a bowl for plants, or you can just use it as a geometric shape. So nice dies. These really detailed ones cut like a dream. They are not difficult to get the pieces out of the dies at all. I haven't had any ones that have ripped. So that's really lovely. So that's the Splendid Thoughts stamp set, the Splendid Stems dies, and you can get them together as a money saving bundle. There are what they're calling open leaf trinkets. These are in a gold metal. They're lovely. They've got some weight to them. They're quite a nice feeling quality charm. Try and get that a little bit closer for you to see. I'll give you the size of them. So top to bottom they are 1 1/4 inches, and measured across from leaf tip to leaf tip they are just, oh, they're about 5/8 of an inch. So really nice metal charms. They have a little loop in the end so you can hang them if you like. You could pop them on earrings. And there are, I believe, 20 in a set. Yeah, 20 of those come in a set. This is the soft seafoam seam binding ribbon. It's a very, very pretty colour. Very soft green. It ties beautifully. It's 3/8 of an inch wide, or 1 centimetre wide. Ties beautifully, drapes nicely. It's very pretty. It's lightweight. It's a beautiful ribbon. I love seam binding ribbon, whatever the colour, and this is a different width. It's also not a crinkled one. The one we have in the annual catalogue, which I've bought reels and reels of, is crinkled. This is ironed, if you like. I don't know if there's somebody in the factory with the ironing board out, but it's a smooth ribbon, not a wrinkled one. So now I have a Splendid Day Speciality Designer Series paper. This is gorgeous. One side is foiled, and some of the foil is quite shiny and some of it is almost like a satin. Really beautiful. And then the other side is plain. So let me show you these. It's 12 inches square, 2 sheets of each in a pack. So this one is a silver foil with white pattern on it. It's a shiny pattern. It's almost like a raised embossed pattern, which is actually little sprigs of leaves. And on the back there is a pattern which is like a light paint wash on canvas. I don't know if I lift it up whether you'll be able to see the canvas pattern on there. You might. The light's shining through it as well, I think, which doesn't help. The colours within the paper are Sahara Sand here. Then you'll also have Calypso Coral, Fresh Freesia, Petal Pink, Pool Party and Soft Sea Foam. And then we have copper foil as well. So this one is a copper foiled design with flowers and leaves. On the back of that is an all over or one way. It's a one way design. Calypso Coral, you've got that washed canvas look again, and then some outlines on there. It's really nice, this. It's got some definition to the pattern, but it's not too bold, and so you can layer other things over it. I love this. This is such a pretty colour. Fresh Freesia foil with white leaves on it. And then on the back, it's white and Fresh Freesia with a leafy pattern. This one is Soft Sea Foam, and this is what I mean by the satin foiling. I don't know if foiling's the right word, but it's a satin, it's not a shiny foil. It has white embossing on it of leaves, and I don't know if you'll be able to see if I point out. There's a scattering of little white ladybirds, which are really lovely. And then on the back of that is an all over leaf pattern. I told you that was Soft Sea Foam. I'm just checking to see if I've given you the right name. Yeah, they're saying it's Soft Sea Foam. It's a little bit mint macaroni as well. And this is a foil with Soft Sea Foam. So this is quite a shiny one. And it has a border pattern. It's along two opposite sides, a beautiful leafy border pattern with some of those little bees on here. Now you have not got to do very much to turn this into a card front. If you just cut a panel out, you've got a beautiful card front there. You could pop a sentiment on a banner and your card is done. It's beautiful paper. On the back of that is an all over design of green foliage. And then the final one is copper foil. This again is one of those designs where you have two opposite sides have got the pattern on them. In white again we've got tall leaves. These remind me a little bit of lavender or rosemary leaves. And then on the opposite side we have another Calypso Coral leaf design over the canvas effect. This one is another one where you could just cut a panel out and you've got a card front. So beautiful. We've had these in a few packs recently. They're really lovely. Okay, so I'm going to move those aside and show you the coordinating Sale-a-Bration item. So if you spend £45, then you will be able to get this pack of Pool Party and Soft Sea Foam cards and envelopes. So you can't buy the cards and envelopes, you can only earn them free. So there are 20 cards in there. 10 of them have got Pool Party on them and 10 of them have got Soft Sea Foam. They're a patterned card base. I'll try and get that up to show you on the camera. So it's got like a white leaf pattern onto Soft Sea Foam. They're white inside. And then the other design is a leaf design with Pool Party. So lovely soft turquoise. Again, I'm hoping you can see the pattern on that. It's kind of colour washed, so there are light and dark patches on both of them. And then there are 20 matching envelopes. So these are Soft Sea Foam on the outside. They have a little leaf print on the bottom right hand corner. On the back flap they have that, I'm calling it sort of rosemary or lavender style leaf printed on the back. And then inside they have a printed design which coordinates with some of the paper. So you've got absolutely perfect coordination there. So ordering £45 worth from the Splendid Day Suite, you could then order yourself the cards and envelopes, and you are absolutely all set to make projects with this set. You just need your ink pads and you're away. These are quite a lightweight card base, but I'm finding that I'm enjoying using them. I'm popping an insert inside and then a layer or two on the front, or a layer of white card inside makes it a much more weighty card base if that's what you want. The other thing you can do, of course, is to cut off the pattern section and use it as a layer on your cards used with a different card base. So lots and lots of potential there. I'm just going to see if I can pop this paper back. Oh, I've just dropped both my catalogues on the floor. Did you hear those go? Let me pop that in there just to protect that foiling. And then I'm going to show you some samples and do a little bit of crafting. I'm hoping I don't knock anything else off. Okay, so I've got some samples to show you, and then I'm going to do some crafting using the free cards. So this one uses the stamp set and one of the embellishments and the ribbon and the papers and dies. So pretty much everything in this card. I've just stacked up some of those semicircular shapes, and I don't know if you can see, there's a little bit of stitching detail on the sides of these semicircles. I've stamped on my card base, I've distressed my edge there, and then I've got one of the embellishments here, and I cut my banner with the Stylish Shapes dies, and then I stamped on it using the Let's Celebrate stamp from the same stamp set with the suite. So that's that one. Another card here, again I've used everything on this except for the metal embellishments. I actually added some iridescent, I'm trying to think what these are called. Are they iridescent pearls? So I've got some of that lovely soft foil paper behind. I've stamped my white card just to give it a little bit of texture and colour on the background. That's actually a stamp from the Oceanfront stamp set, but you could just brush some ink on with a water painter or a Stamping Blends marker. There's a couple of these die cut pieces here. You can see how fine the detailing is on those. And then I've also got the little bees stamped across here. I've got some of the ribbon and then one of the sentiments from the stamp set there. This one has got a little bit more detail on it. I've used the brick and mortar embossing folder, and I've just rubbed my white craft ink pad over those bricks just to highlight them a little bit and to knock back the coral colour so everything else still shows up, because coral is quite a bright colour. So here I've got a couple of the foliage images stamped and then die cut. I've got some more die cut pieces in the background. I've just cut round that sending hugs sentiment there and popped it on the pot, and then some more of the pretty ribbon here and some more of those iridescent pearls, which I really adore. Holding it a bit high, aren't I? I'm not good with where my camera is. There we are, down there. I think that gives you a better view. And finally, things I've already made to show you is a gift bag. So I'm really exploiting this beautiful foil paper which goes all the way around. And then I've made a little tag, added a charm on there, and tied it all up with the seam binding ribbon. So really, really pretty papers. You can do a lot with them. And then put those to one side. One more to show you, and then I'm going to make something with you here. Okay. So this uses one of those free Sale-a-Bration cards. I've cut the front with the split card textures dies. I've got all these things that I've used written down, which I'll give you the sheet under the camera in a minute when I finish this section. I've cut foliage here, some in white and some in pear pizzazz. And then I've lined the card with some white card which shows through this cut trellis but doesn't show through my stamping on the inside. So you've just got the white background there. I've used that Let's Celebrate stamp, really useful stamp. Some of the in-colour dots, and tied a double bow with some of that pretty seam binding ribbon. Kay's saying she loves the ribbon. Yeah, I completely agree with you, Kay. It's so soft and pretty. All right, so I thought I would make another version of that with you just to show you a different idea. It's quite a versatile design. So I've got all my bits pre-cut here. I've got another one of those soft seafoam cards, the free Sale-a-Bration ones. This time I've cut a piece of fresh freesia card to go underneath, and I've used the other die in the pack, which gives you a kind of an all-over floral design. And I've got another piece the same size just to go inside as an insert. So let me glue those in first of all. And I mentioned about the fact that the cards and envelopes are quite lightweight. Well, the cards are actually, the envelopes are not. The cards are quite a lightweight card. Oh, and I'm just actually going to pop a little bit of glue down that diagonal as well so that the card doesn't gape around there. But adding a layer of card inside really does give them some extra weight, and I think does the trick nicely. So a contrast like this, or a piece that's white inside. When you put the white in, it's pretty much invisible. It just looks like inserts anyway. So now on the front you can see that pink coming through against the green. I've just stuck my fingers in the glue. I'm covered in ink from this morning anyway, so my hands are a disgrace, so don't look at those. Looks like I've got dirt all up my nail, but it's actually Mossy Meadow ink. So I'm just going to pop this one inside on the other side. I can't remember if I was going to stamp that. If I was going to stamp that, I should really have stamped it first before I stuck it in, shouldn't I? Are you all talking to the screen and telling me that? Okay, and now I'm going to just arrange my foliage. So I've got a few bits and pieces here. I've got one of the banners cut using the Stylish Shapes dies. I've also got a couple here in case I mess up my stamping on there. And then I have some pieces cut from the dies, some in basic white, some in fresh freesia. Need to get that piece out if I'm going to use it. I may not use that one actually. I think I was just going to use green. And 2 in pear pizzazz. On the back I've got the adhesive sheet. You've heard me talk about this before. This is a double-sided adhesive sheet. It comes in pieces, I think these are 6 by 12 inches. Yes. And you just peel off the backing paper on one side, stick your card on, die cut as normal, and then your die cuts become stickers, as these do. You'll see me put them down. So on these really fine pieces, it's a really good idea to use the adhesive sheet on the back, and then gluing them is so easy. However, I forgot all about it when I was cutting the white ones, so I am going to have to glue down the white ones, but never mind. Never mind. So I'm just going to arrange these on here. I don't know, something like that. And I'm just going to see where my banner will go, which will be something like that. And then I've got a couple more pieces to put down. So I think I'm going to swap the green. I'm going to put this other green one up here. And then pop these 2 underneath the banner, something like that. This is how I often work when I'm designing. I'll cut a whole bunch of pieces in the colours I want to use, and then I'll lay them down. At this point I would usually take a photograph, and then I can move them and start sticking and still know where I was going to go with it all. And if I have pieces left over, well, that doesn't matter because I can use them on something else. So if I can get the backing paper off, you'll see what I mean about the adhesive sheet. Starting it is always the hardest thing. There we go, that's the end. So I'm just peeling off the backing paper. These are very fine, so I'm not pulling it really hard. Oops. And I'm going to lay this down about here, and that just sticks down like a sticker. So easy. However, as I said, I forgot to put it on the white, so the white I'm just going to have to dot on a little bit of glue. There we go. I like to overlap these, they're all different shapes. Another pink one next. I'm calling it pink, it's Fresh Freesia. And this one has the adhesive on the back, so very easy to stick down, and so does my green one, which is Pear Pizzazz. There we are. So I have a cluster of foliage there in 3 different colours. And it's kind of hanging in the air at the moment, but once I get the banner on there it will look better. So I'm going to stamp my banner next. As I said, I've cut this from white card using the Stylish Shapes dies. I've got the thank you from Go To Greetings, which if you haven't ordered this yet, my instruction to you is order this. It will be the most useful stamp set you'll have on your shelf, potentially tying in top place with Peaceful Moments. So this has got happy birthday, thinking of you, just a note and thank you in 3 different fonts in 3 different sizes, plus you've got a bonus hello stamp. So super useful set of stamps. It covers all those main occasions. I'm going to stamp this in Fresh Freesia ink, and I'm hoping that I can get it nice and centrally on my banner. Oop. Let's try again. That's the glue on my fingers is picking up the banner. I'm a really messy crafter already today. There we go. And I need some dimensionals for that. I'm going to pop some dimensionals on the back, and then before I stick it down I'm just going to check where I want those extra foliage pieces. As always, I use plenty of dimensionals because I don't want this to go saggy in the middle. Nobody wants a saggy middle. Right, so if I pop that on here, I can now tell where I need these to go. So I want them something like that for that one. So that's pretty easy to do. That's pretty much at right angles to the others. That was too much glue. Much easier to use the adhesive sheets. but needs must. It was such a waste. I couldn't bring myself to throw all these white die cuts in the bin. So I thought I'll just manage with putting some glue on them. But this one, fortunately, I did remember about the adhesive sheet. There we go. And now I can pop my banner on top. And I just want a few rhinestones on there. And I wasn't sure about a ribbon. I tied one. I don't know. What do you think? Ribbon or not? Let me know what you think. But I definitely think a few little rhinestones would be nice. I was wondering whether to pop them, I think I will, on the sort of the junctions of the lines on the die cut. I'm going to watch the comments and see if you want me to add a bow, or if you don't think it needs it. And if I'm going to add a bow, where do I put it? You're very quiet. Okay, no clues about the bow. I'm going to leave the bow off, I think, that one. So there we go. There are two versions of what's essentially the same card. I've used the same dies. I've just used two different dies for cutting these corners. And different shaped sentiment pieces, but really the same idea. It's quite fun to do that sometimes, come up with two cards which are the same but different. So I've shown you lots of samples then for this lovely Splendid Day suite. It's really beautiful. Let me put you down all the details of where you can find everything. So the Splendid Day suite obviously is in the Mini Catalogue. The cards and envelopes are in the Sale-a-Bration brochure, and of course because they haven't launched I can't show you the insides of the catalogues yet. I nearly did. I'd nearly got my wrist slapped by stamping up if I'd done that. I've used those split card textures dies. That's these. The stylish shapes dies, which were for the circle and the banner. And then go-to greetings for my words on the card I just made. The words on the other card, the first card, are actually in the Splendid Day stamp set. So I'll clean my stamps and get them out of the way. Put this little lot down on the floor. Oops, just lost my lead again. I don't think it would matter how much space I had, it wouldn't be quite enough. There we are. All right, let's bring in something else. So I'm going to show you now the Wonderful World paper and stamps. And again, I've got some samples I've made to show you, and then I'm going to show you another one with a little bit of technique in it. Now I only have one pack of these papers, so I'm hoping I've got whole sheets of every design to show you. So these two come together as a reward. If you spend £90, you can choose these. The papers are absolutely gorgeous. They're very soft, pretty colours, and the scales of the patterns, I mean, there are lots of different things you can do with them. And they come with this stamp set, which has got 3 of the flowers which feature in the papers, plus a leaf and a little sprig of leaves there. There's a cornflower, a rose and an iris, and they're beautiful. These are red rubber stamps. And I'll show you the papers. So these are 12 by 12. You get 2 sheets of each. So you get this one, which has got all these individual flowers, which you can snip out with scissors, or you can die cut with circles, or you can punch out. The rectangular postage stamp punch fits them beautifully. And on the other side, you've got a pink pattern. Then there's this one, which is a little bit more of a formal arrangement of the same flowers on a background of rich raspberry, and then a very pretty sprigged flower design. Let me try and lift that one up a little bit. That's quite a small scale. I haven't told you the colours. The colours are Daffodil Delight, Flirty Flamingo, Melon Mambo, Mossy Meadow, Orchid Oasis, Pear Pizzazz, Rich Raspberry, Sahara Sand and Starry Sky. So pinks, blues, greens and yellows. This is really lovely. This is very cottage garden-y. Pretty pinks and purples, and then a kind of a trellis design formed of leaves on the back. Another one with arrangements of the flowers. This time it's on a green background. And the flip side are these cheerful little yellow stripes. This one is all the blues, with hints of purple and yellow, green and white. And on the back of that is an all over leaf pattern. And then finally, this one has the flowers at much bigger scale, and they are the perfect size to cut out with your scissors and use as focal points on your cards. And I will show you a card in a minute where I've done that. So I think these papers are beautiful. And they come with a coordinating stamp set, which is awesome. All right, let's pop those back in there so I don't bend them. And then I'll show you some cards and a little technique that I've been using with the stamps. So on this one I've used 2 pieces of patterned paper and a stamp from the Biggest Wish pack, which I've snipped around. This is also great for using up your paper scraps. It's a really good layout. You only need 2 small pieces of patterned paper. So if you've got a big box of scraps, I know you have, then this is going to be great for using them up. I'm just going to drink some of my tea. I can feel my throat getting very dry. Okay. Here's another one. Now on this one I have snipped out with my paper snips one of those large flower designs. It looks like a dog rose to me, the kind that you see in the hedgerows. And I've just mounted that onto a stitched circle from the Stylish Shapes dies set. This paper's in the pack as well. And then I've added a layer of Flirty Flamingo to pick up the colour of the flower, and then a Pear Pizzazz base and some of this pretty glittered organdy ribbon. If I don't know if you can see the glitter. Yes, I think the light is picking it up if I tilt that. There's a fancy fold card here. We've got an easel card. If you haven't seen one of these before, it folds flat for posting, and then there is a little shape here just to tuck that piece under to stand it up like an easel. Quite hard to show with the camera from above, but I hope you can see what I mean. And if I lift that up, you'll see that I've used that small scale floral pattern on here. I've snipped one of those large flowers out for my focal point, and then underneath there I've used that cheerful stripy paper, and I've die cut out one of these little flowers from the paper for my stopper. And then This is another circle from the Stylish Shapes dies. That thank you is from the Go-To Greetings. That's the set I just said that you had to buy. And these are some of the matte in colour dots. And then finally, I've made a little bag. I did not design this. Amanda Fowler, who is a fellow demo and my team leader, designed this. It's got little concertina sides, and you could put all kinds of things in here. And then I've used some of that pretty pink rose paper front and back. Added some seam binding ribbon. This is the crinkled one this time. And I can't remember what these are called, but they are a faceted bold. I think they're called the bold faceted rhinestones. They're in the annual catalogue. Okay, so that's those 4 projects, and then I'm just going to show you something else. So for this one I used the stamp set. I've made a card fold that's just slightly unusual, a fancy fold, but it's the easiest kind. I've just folded the front of the card in half back on itself and then added my front panels so it opens out like this. So this is the cornflower stamp from that stamp set. My thank you stamp is from Go-To Greetings yet again. But what I've done is I've added some detail to the flowers with watercolour pencils, which I'm going to do now and just show you. And then I've also spattered some ink across here. Some of it is Pacific Point and some of it is Night of Navy. So let me show you how I did that. So I have some very vanilla card here. I've got my cornflower stamp from the free Sale-a-Bration set. And I want to ink this up so that I've got blue flowers and green stems. And there are various ways to do that. The easiest way is with a Stampin' Right marker. So these are water-based markers. They have the round barrel. Don't confuse them with the Stampin' Blends markers. If you use Stampin' Blends markers on your stamps, you will simply colour them permanently and you won't be able to stamp with this ink because it dries too quickly. So these have a square, actually I think it's a rectangular barrel. So don't use those. For this technique you need the water-based markers. And I'm going to use the brush tip. You can find that by looking for the broad band on the barrel. The narrow band around the barrel has got the narrow tip. And I'm just going to colour in on the rubber where I want this colour to be. So this is garden green, and I'm just colouring in where the stems and the leaves are on the stamp. I can quite easily see, but if I wasn't sure I could refer to the image on the box. Now this ink will dry quite quickly, but don't worry about that, we're going to reactivate it. And I'm using the pen on the side. If I colour it like this, I'm just going to fray the tip. But if I use it on its side, I'm not going to damage my pen in any way. And it's a water-based ink, so it's not going to damage the stamps either. And now I'm going to add the blue for the cornflower. So this is Pacific Point. And I'm going to do exactly the same again. And if you're using that broad brush tip on its side, you can actually colour across the rubber quite quickly. A little bit fiddly here where the stem meets the flower. And you can do this with any of your stamps. If you've got these Stampin' Right markers, the water-based markers, we have them in every single colour. You can buy them in a colour family, so brights, subtles, regals, neutrals, all the in colours. And they are great for colouring in, but also for this kind of technique where you want more than one colour on your stamp. And there's a little bit of green there I've missed, so let's just add that in. Okay, so this ink has pretty much dried now, and I'm going to just breathe on it to reactivate that ink. It's quite a big stamp, hence all the huffing. And then I'm going to stamp with that. And you'll see I'll have a lovely multicoloured stamp. There we are. stamped image, I should say. So that's my green and blue all in one. And then I'm going to bring in my coloured pencils, and I'm looking for my Pacific Point pencil and my Garden Green pencil. So we have 2 selections of watercolour pencils in the catalogue. And I'm going to colour in one flower and not the other. Actually, let me, if I can find my original. I was going to show you the 2 and see if you could tell the difference, but actually I think it's probably easier if I just colour one flower and not the other. And what I'm doing is I am adding pencil to some of the inked areas, not all of them, but to some of them. I'm not actually going to activate this watercolour pencil with water. I'm just going to use it as a colouring pencil, and it just adds some detail and some depth to my stamped image. You can add as much or as little as you like. And I can already see that this one is looking different to the other flower that I haven't yet coloured. So I'm adding the pencil where my stamped image is darker. So I'll lift that up and I'll hope that you can see that this is the image that I've added pencil to, and that is the one straight from the stamp. So there is much more depth and texture to this one, and I will complete that one, but I won't do it now on the camera. But I just wanted you to show that, you that you can add quite a lot of detail to your stamped images using coloured pencils. This one I think was paler to start with when I stamped it, and then I did actually breathe on my stamp a second time and stamp inside. I didn't re-ink it, I just breathed on it a second time. This is just the residual ink to give me a pale impression inside my card. So there you go, that is some projects using the wonderful world papers and stamps. And I thought that I had written down what I had used, but I can't now see the piece of paper, so I wonder if that, no, can't see it on the floor. I don't know what I did with that, but anyway, you will find those in your Sale-a-Bration brochure. They are beautiful, they are free. Let me move that lot out of the way. And we're just after 3, so what I'm just going to show you now are a few bits and pieces which would be easy to miss in the catalogue or not really see how nice they are. So this is the Nourish and Flourish Kit. You'll find it right at the beginning of the mini catalogue on page 5. And it's a kit which consists of an insulated bag. So we've got padding and insulation inside. There's a floral design on one side. The outside is made of canvas with this lovely polka dot design. Got a pale green base. Got your Stampin' Up logo on the back, and you've got these gold zips all the way around to keep the cool in. And a handle on top. So this makes a lovely lunch bag, but if you don't need a lunch bag, it also would be a great cosmetics bag. You could stand all your bottles and bits and pieces in upright. And I will be keeping my mini cut and emboss machine in there. I think I've got to poke the end of the handle out where the zip is, but it's a double zip, so I'm going to be able to zip it all the way around there and just have the handle poking out. It's padded, so it's going to protect my machine. So there's lots of uses for this. If you don't want to keep this yourself, that on its own would make a lovely gift for someone. You could always fill it up with some goodies of some sort. But that's not all you get. You also get a card making kit. And Stampin' Up will be donating £2.50 from each of these card and bag kits to organisations which are working to end food insecurity. Unfortunately, at the moment, with prices the way they are, there are even more people who are struggling to put food on the table, and so each of these kits will give a donation to organisations in all the different markets that Stampin' Up! Operates in, working to end that. So this kit makes 9 cards. There are printed card bases and sorry, not printed, there are printed envelopes in 3 colours. There are embossed card bases in 3 patterns. That's the first one, that's the second, and that's the third. I don't suppose they will show up well on the camera because they're white, but you've got a geometric, a leafy sprig, and then one which is a little bit like a basket weave or herringbone card bases. Lots and lots and lots of die cut pieces. There are 3 sheets of these. I've used 1 sheet already, and I'll show you some of the made up cards in a moment. A sheet of sticky banners and edging. Lots of messages. Now there are messages in lots of different languages, but there are enough to complete your cards in English as well as French, German and Dutch. And these are die cuts, so you have, if I put this one down here, you've got ovals, a ticket shape and a square, and these are pre-printed, so you don't need to stamp those unless you want to, but actually I stamped mine and I'll show you my versions in a minute. Piece of card in there to work on if you want, as well as your stiffening material. There are some dimensionals, there are some sticky dots, and there are some pale, I think they're pale papaya, but pale little yellowy orange pearls. And then the cards, I decided to actually stamp my cards because I needed, as always, thank you cards. So instead I have stamped my cards, and all I've done is I've pushed out these die cut pieces, turned them over, I've just dabbed all the edges into an ink pad, and then I've stamped on top. So actually I should be doing that with all these others, and I've instantly got loads and loads and loads of die cut panels ready for messages. So all the cards are florals. They're really pretty. Look at that. They've all got this lovely embossed base. And you can either use the messages they've provided you with, which makes for really quick crafting if you don't want to get out ink pads, or perhaps you want to take it in the garden or away on holiday, in the caravan, in the car maybe if you're taking the kids to do something and you've got to wait and pick them up. And you don't even need an ink pad. But if you do want to stamp, then you can do what I've done and just stamp on the back. Oh, sorry, that's a little bit far forward, isn't it? I'm not very good at getting this under the camera. There we go. And this one, now there is an illustrated instruction sheet with this, and I've made the first 3 cards exactly as the instruction sheet suggests, because I quite like to get a feel for what the designers had in mind. But after that you can do, of course, whatever you like. But this is a great kit for a beginner, or if you've got a family member you think would enjoy crafting, if they would give it a chance, because the instructions are all step by step. It tells you even where to put your glue, what order to work in. On the back it gives you all the individual pieces that you're going to need, so you can just pull those out for the 1, 2, 3 card designs, and then you've got a full colour picture on the front. You've also got a couple of QR codes on the back. If you scan them with the camera on your phone, this will take you to some beginning basics, and this will show you all about the kit. Colour photo on the front, or you can do your own thing. It's a lovely kit, and it comes with that fabulous bag. So find that on page 5 of the mini catalogue. Right, I'm going to pop those in there out of the way. Now I'm going to show you the Stars Treats bag. You're going to find these in the mini catalogue on page 35. Now they are in with the Christmas things, I'll just warn you now. But they are beautiful, really beautiful. You can't really see them in the catalogue. They come in a pack like this, 10 to a pack. You unfold them and you have a paper bag. It's an off-white, so it's not really white, it's not really vanilla, which is great because it means either of those colours is going to work with it. You can colour the bags by putting some re-inker into a stamping spritzer and spritzing them with ink. You could use ink blending brushes. You could stamp on them. You could cut a piece of card or glimmer paper and slide it in there so that the stars would be a different colour, and those stars come in there, they're all die cut, and you've got this nice zigzag top. When you unfold them, they're all glued and everything, you just unfold them. Honestly, these are so thick, they're made of cardboard, they are really, really strong. And what I think these are perfect for, particularly at this time of year, is for a lumiere. You know those paper bags with perforations in them that you put a battery tea light in, and you can have them as table decorations, particularly if you're going to be eating outside in the evening. They look really, really pretty in the twilight. It's too bright probably for you to get the full effect here, but here's my battery tea light. I'm just going to drop it in the bottom. If I was taking it outside, I'd probably put a couple of glue dots on the bottom of that tea light to be sure that it stayed in place. And I'm hoping I can tilt this and you might get some of the effect of the tea light inside. You probably can't. I think it's probably too bright in here. But you would get those little stars lit up outside. It would be gorgeous. And if you were careful, you could use these numerous times, because honestly, they are so strong. I was really pleasantly surprised when I got the first one out of the pack to see just how thick that cardboard is. They're lovely. So that's the Stars Treats bag. You'll find them in the mini catalogue on page 35. And then I've just got a couple of packs of embellishments to show you here, which they're easy to miss, I think. Now, these are in with the Christmas things, but honestly, these are a year-round embellishment. These are called Festive Pearls. Now, there is an error on the packaging, because when I got mine say red and green adhesive-backed pearls, but they are not just red and green, as you can see. So you've got this red here, which is lovely for berries. But you could use that on anything where you've got red. You've got this very soft mint macaron green. And I love these. These are silver and gold pearls, and they're metallic. So they're not pearlized, but they're the shape of small pearls. So these are really, really useful embellishments. Put these on your first order and you're going to be really enjoying them. They'll be great when Christmas comes around, but honestly, for now, they're fantastic as well. So that's the Festive Pearls. Those are in your mini catalogue. And then the Fine Sparkle Adhesive-backed Gems, which is a bit of a mouthful and doesn't really tell you what they're like, are these. These are such pretty pastel summery colours. They'll go with lots of other things that are both new items in the catalogue, but also things you've got in your stash. So you've got, and I've dropped my catalogue on the floor where I can't reach it, so I can't check the colours, but I'm pretty sure we've got mint macaron, Pacific Point, pale papaya and sweet sorbet. And these are both faceted. I'm hoping the light is catching them. And sort of frosted as well. It's not exactly glitter, it's not iridescent, but they've just got a really pretty sparkle to them. They are lovely, 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 and you wouldn't be able to tell how nice they are just from looking at a photograph of them. So I wanted to show you. And then finally, because you know by now how much I love it, washi tape. Now this is in the Halloween section, but that's okay. I'm not going to be using it on a Halloween project, but it is glitter washi tape. It's fabulous. Look at that. Is that 1/4 of an inch? Yeah, 1/4 of an inch wide. And if I can find the end, I will tear a piece off and stick it down for you. There it is. This is lovely. It's quite a subtle glitter, although it's glittery washi tape. Self-adhesive, makes beautiful borders. Like that, you could cut banner ends into it. You can lay down multiple strips next to each other and then die cut through it. You can do lots and lots of things with washi tape. We haven't had washi tape for a while, so I couldn't possibly not mention that we do have it now. Right, so that is what I have for you today. I'm just going to quickly turn the camera back up to me so I can say a proper goodbye to you and tell you what I'm going to be doing tomorrow. Okay, am I there? Yes, I think I am. Try and get that so you can see me. There we are. So tomorrow I will be able to open up the catalogues and show you inside, which is going to be much better. I've got more of the free Sale-a-Bration items to show you. I've got more of the items in the new mini catalogue to show you, the ones which are themed around trees and leaves in particular. I've got lots of projects to show you. I've got some crafting to do with you. I've got some more techniques to do with you to show you, just to expand your own repertoire a little bit maybe, or remind you of some things that you know how to do but had maybe forgotten. And I will be back on my usual day, which is Friday at 2 o'clock for Craft and Chat. Craft and Chat, the new catalogues, part 2 is what will happen tomorrow. So I'll be here tomorrow, which is Friday the 1st of July at 2 o'clock. Now tomorrow you can order from the catalogue. So if you've seen anything you like so far, you can place an order on my website tomorrow morning, or you can wait until you see me in the afternoon and then place an order then. And of course, I'm always happy to place orders for you. You've just got to let me know what you would like. So I will look forward very much to seeing you again here tomorrow. Thank you for joining me today. I'm sorry about the Facebook glitch. I really don't think it was me this time. Sometimes it is, but I don't think it was. All my systems were working fine. So if you want to rewatch this, then I'm afraid there's a part 1, which is about 15-20 minutes long, and then there's a part 2, which is all the crafting. But hopefully tomorrow we will just have the one recording. It will all be much more straightforward, and I look forward to seeing you then. So enjoy the rest of your Thursday, and I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you so much, and bye-bye. Do you know, I always have trouble getting the finish button up. There we go. Let's get it up now. I'll see you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.